Hey everybody, decided I'm going to do a flea market find series. I've got a few items here I want to get put away, and in order for me to do that, before I do that, I wanted to go through them and show them. And most of these items are flea market items. I do have a couple of used tool store items here that I'm going to show you. Some of these items are machinist related. Some of these items are just items of random interest, so to speak. And some of them are just great deals. So without further ado, I'm going to tighten the shot here with the camera and we'll dive right in. So this first group of items I picked up at the flea market, and I picked these up for $5 for the whole lot. And first item is this K&E Favorite Whiteface, W-Y-T-E-F-A-C-E, steel tape. It's used, but it's in the original box. And K&E actually stands for, here it is, I think it's Kuffel and Esser Company. Sounds very German. Precision since 1867. And what this is this is a 100-foot tape, and it's in this neat little case. Super tough surfaces, guaranteed use for years. The way I know that it's used is because if you look at the back, you can see all of the rubbing from years of this being taken in and out of the box. Other than that, it's actually in really good shape. The case looks great. And the big thing about this is going to be more something that would be of interest to a tool collector, is this neat case, this box that looks like it doubled as a display when they had it in the store for sale originally. So I figure if I'm into this for $5, I think I could turn around and flip this on online for probably around $15. Well, that's a nice little tape. So I scored that, and then he threw in, included in that, were these two other items that I found. And these are two pairs of early eyeglasses. Okay, these are kind of neat. These are kind of a unusual shape, hexagonal, or not quite sure. These are in a case. Back in the day, optometrists could have eyeglasses made by a company for their particular stores. So this is optometrist Dr. W.E. Potter, Merrimack Street, Lowell, Massachusetts. But the interesting thing about these eyeglasses, both pairs, are that they're marked with magnification. I was able to see that they're marked clearly. These are made by the American Optical Company of Southbridge, Massachusetts. American Optical was a major employer in this area. Southbridge is just one town over from where I am now, and as a matter of fact, my father, being a Polish immigrant, one of his first and last good jobs that he had was as a lens grinder, working at American Optical Company, and he ended up working there for over 25 years until he retired. I remember near the end of his tenure there at the company, they had started to be a lot of layoffs. This was back in the mid 70s, and they told my father that he had been such a good employee that rather than put him out of work completely, they gave him a job as a custodian there. So, you know, that obviously would have been considered, by today's standards, would have been considered a demotion, and I don't know about how he felt about it back then. I think he was just thrilled to still be employed when so many of the other guys that were working in his department were let go completely. So anyways, I actually still have his 25-year watch that they gave him as a gift for 25 years of service. And you know, companies don't do that anymore because it's very rare that anybody stays with a company for 25 years. And I could go off on a whole discussion about that, but I think it all boils down to that no one's going to be as loyal to a company like that, like they were back in those days anymore, because quite frankly, the company's #1 priority is now the shareholders, in my opinion. and not the employee. So it's a two-way street. You're not going to be loyal to your employees. Why should they be loyal to you? You know, you're gonna axe the guy as soon as some bean counter says you can make more money by bringing in some new younger kid to replace him. Why is that guy not gonna consider walking the first chance he gets a better offer? But I digress. So here's the other pair. Oh, these were bifocals, in case you didn't notice it. Here's the other pair. These actually have almost like a smoked lens to them. So these are really kind of cool. A lot of people collect these now, and I just knew that I was going to get these for basically what amounted to probably like a buck a piece. Actually, in reality, I paid for this, and these came along with it. So I'm not into these for much. I haven't decided yet whether or not I want to. Part of me is like, just turn around and sell them on the internet, flip them, and make a little money. These might even be silver, or they might be gold-filled frames. I don't know. But anyways, this is Physicians Optical Company, 9. Can't make out that street there in Lowell, Massachusetts. So this one's actually monogrammed, HRT. Must have been the initials of the original buyer. I wonder what these cost back in the day. I mean, these are obviously early glasses, but I just thought maybe you guys would like to see something a little different. Stopped in the tool store a few weeks ago and didn't find anything of interest, but there was a craftsman. There was a Craftsman toolbox there. And I happened to be poking through the drawers, and I saw this little square, this little machinist square, and I was like, oh, that's a cute little square. And then I looked at it a little closer, and it's got a little bit of rust on it. But I could make out Athol, Massachusetts, so I instantly knew that this was a Starrett square. And sure enough, this is the, I believe this one's marked the LSS company, Athol, Massachusetts. And then on the back, it's marked tempered number 10, NO 10. So a little bit of rust here and there on it, but because it was just in the drawer like that, I figured he didn't, the store owner wasn't going to care too much about it. So I pulled it out, I brought it up to him, I said, you take $1 for that? And he said, where'd you get it? I said, it was in that, in one of the drawers there on that toolbox. And he said, yeah, sure. I'm a regular buyer there, so I'm a frequent flyer, so to speak. So I think he figured, what the heck, throw me one. So I got that cute little square for $1. That was a nice little deal. And my local flea market, and he had brought in some things, and I saw a guy that I see. He's a picker, he hits all of the stores, secondhand stores, and yard sale season. He tries to get in early and everything. He's a major scrounger, so to speak. And he brought this to my attention initially, but I should have known better because he wasn't jumping on buying it. And the guy wanted, I think, $30 for this, and he had absolutely no idea what it was. He just sensed that it had a lot of value, or at least that's the story he told me. Well, I was intrigued enough by it that I finally started talking turkey with him on buying this thing, and we were kind of like at an impasse. And I had offered him $15 for it, and he was holding steady at 20. And then I walked away, and to my credit, I'm glad I did, because I wish I had kept walking. But what I did was, on my way back out, I came right back by, and I said, "Hey, I'm on my way out. I'll still offer you 15 for that." And because he knew I was serious, that I wasn't going to go the extra 5 for the 20. Initially, he said no again. Then I told him what I found out about it, that I found out what it is, and I told him it's for an exhaust. It's an exhaust system. Well, all right. So first off, it's stamped here, Bovey, Bovey. Okay, and by that name and a little bit of research, I was able to figure out that what this is a device that back in the early days of automobiles, you would cut a hole in the side of the exhaust system and strap this on to the side of the pipe where you cut the hole, which would allow the exhaust gases to be able to channel either through here or through here, depending on how this lever was actuated. Now this is frozen right now, it doesn't want to move. And the purpose of recycling this or rerouting this exhaust system, the fumes, is to actually use the heat from the exhaust to heat the inside of the car. Now there must have been some kind of a heat exchanger or something that the hot exhaust gases would go through and it would heat up. Not sure exactly how this whole system worked. All I can imagine is that over the years, if this system developed leaks, you basically end up pumping carbon monoxide into your cab of your vehicle. So I can imagine that this was not the greatest idea in the world. So I had no idea what it was worth. I had found one similar to it on eBay that only had like this part didn't exist. It only had this one part here, so it was like just the pipe going through and then one valve, and had sold for 20 bucks quite a while ago. That was the only thing I had to go on. So my theory was I'd take a chance and give him 15 for it, thinking, well, it should be at least 20, and that hoping that because of the additional pipe here, that maybe this was even more unusual and it might be worth even a little more. In retrospect, I really don't like the idea of working on such a poor margin for something like this. I mean, this is not going to, I don't think this is going to bring much at all. Matter of fact, I may be hard-pressed to get any bids at all on it. But it was a neat-looking, steampunk-looking thing. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to have to do. I'll put steampunk in the in the title, so that maybe somebody will see some artistry in this thing and buy it. Oh well. So that was the first mistake I made at that vendor, but not the last. Then I kind of fell in love with these little these little levels that he had. Okay, so these are Stanley's. This one is marked Stanley patent June 23rd, 96. So that's 1896. They appear to be cast iron bodies. There's still some remnants of the original black paint, but there's also rust and patina on there. And then this is brass on the front here. Well, he had these little levels, and I forgot what he originally wanted on them, and I took a liking to them, and I thought maybe that there was a real sleeper here. So I decided to take a chance, and I bought the two of these for $25, figuring that this nicer one here I'm into for $15, and this one here, which I haven't cleaned up yet, this has got a lot more missing paint and rust on it, on the body, but this brass looks like it's just really filthy, and it might clean up. Figured that, well, I can maybe make a little bit of money on these. I was actually hoping that this was a very valuable one, and come to find out, apparently this is a lot more common than I realized initially. I probably, if I had done more research on these ahead of time, I would have passed on these, even at 25 bucks for the pair. So I think, I got a feeling that I might own these for a while. But they are kind of neat, I'm going to take a minute, I'm going to clean this one up. Well guys, I just hit this with some of this LA, what the heck's it called? Best LA or whatever. I can't remember what that cleaner is. And, Awesome LA. LA is totally awesome, that's it. LA is totally awesome cleaner. And a rag. I didn't want to, scuff this up badly. And I removed enough of the dirt so that I can now see that this, even though this top plate is brass, it's actually painted. It's got the remnants of red paint on it. So I still have no idea who makes this one. Because of the style and the way it's made, I think it might also be a Stanley. That's what I determined. Well, this one clearly is marked Stanley, but So I think that they're both Stanleys, but I have no idea what number this one is. The glass isn't broken. That's one thing I was able to determine. I think I had realized that when I bought it, but cleaned it up and can actually see the bubble in there perfectly fine. Both of these have good bubbles. So, anyways, don't know much about these other than what I quickly, scoured on the internet about them. But so I got these two little levels, and they're probably going to have them for a long time. And then another weekend earlier this month, I ended up hitting a flea market that I haven't been to in a while. And I tell you, I went through there and I was really disappointed. A lot of vendors had pulled out. There were a lot of empty spaces. There were a lot of vendors that didn't even bother opening, even though there was stuff in their spaces. I just didn't see a lot there. But I did find this one vendor that was open, and there was a woman watching the space, and it looked like they really just sold stuff for whatever they could get. And I was digging through some boxes, and I came across this Porter cable grinder. This says, proudly made in the USA, Porter cable. Okay, it's got the handle on it. And I was like, I don't really need another one of these. But it's always handy to have extra ones if you can get them cheap enough. This is a model 7335. This is a 5-inch heavy-duty variable speed. Oh, this is a random orbit sander. I didn't even realize what this was. All right, so this is random orbit sander. So what's going to happen here is, let's see, there must be a lock button. I think there's a button you press to lock this spindle so you can thread this on and off. Although I guess you just could put a wrench in here and do that. But anyways, so I said, what are you going to get for this? Or did I? Oh, you know what it was? I was so what's the word I'm looking for? Apathetic about buying this thing that I put it down and kind of said, I'm not going to bother. And then I went back and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go up and see if she'll take $5 for it. If she takes $5 for it, I'll take a chance on it. And if she doesn't want to give it to me for $5, I'm just going to put it right back in the bucket and say the hell with it. So I grabbed this thing, went up there, and to my surprise, she said, yeah, sure. So I got it for $5. I haven't even plugged it in since I've gotten it. So let's fire this up right now, because there isn't enough dust in here. So let's get some dust flying. So because it's random orbit, this isn't just going to spin. This is going to, or it should actually, oscillate back and forth as it's spinning. So I'm going to put this down on the lowest setting. It has a 1 through 6 setting. Sounded like a bad sound, but it's actually just this metal thing actually clanging against this. That works actually perfectly fine. So I'll find some use for this. This has what looks to be a pretty standard. Let's see if I can't get this to come off of here. So what's on here right now is a 3M disc pad, number 13700. That's interesting. Porter cable. So obviously somebody was using this for woodworking, but I'm sure I could find something to use this for more to my liking, because I foresee using this outside for rust or paint removal on metal objects. That's my theory as to what I'm going to end up using this for. Right now it just gets put off to the side, but that's a good score for $5.